So, so in the CAM test, we had three groups. So we divided into three problems, right? And two choices were given for each one. So मैं आज what I will do is I will discuss these choices mainly. But if anyone has any problems in first three, so do let me know. तो अभी एक बार देख सकते हैं. Because why I'm not uh, too much worried about this is because mostly all these kind we have already covered in assignments. उस वाले में थोड़ा सा triangular था. In this it is dump shaped. So that's the only difference in this one. And this is basic. Just three multi-material simulations. इसमें 20% कम करना था आपके कोहेजन को और यंग्स मॉडुलस को फॉर जोन 2 and zone 3. That's it. And in first one में you used limit equilibrium, you used finite element, and you used support as well, right? So I think anyone faced any problem in this, so do let me know. Otherwise I will discuss these two और इन टाइप के प्रॉब्लम्स को कैसे सॉल्व करते हैं. I think even this one, if someone tried to attempt, then it would have been easy. The last one is not at all a problem, but still we'll discuss these two. Why? Because ये वाले प्रॉब्लम शायद हम लोगों ने डिस्कस नहीं किए अंडरग्राउंड वाले. The concept remains same. Only thing is that now we are working in a confined space, and this is basically representing a underground board and pillar sort of setup. So one way to do this kind of simulation is that we draw a full 250-meter height overburden on top. So and just make a small one. That also works. That is not an issue. Like for example, there was one study I did. Let me show you. It was a little bit back. It was underground mine only. Depillering operation was going on. So they wanted to know what is the factor of safety if we do the splitting, we do slicing also, and so on. So many conditions were there. So I also took inspiration from that part only, but the way I did and the way it should have been done are a little bit different. So for example, this is a similar condition. So in this also, this was the coal pillar, and this was basically sliced in two places. And what we had to do was basically find out how much is the factor of safety of this. A way to find factor of safety, there are multiple ways, right, to find factor of safety. One was the critical strength factor, that is as usual the strength reduction factor, right? So we can use the SRF and find out what is the maximum one. Another way to find is based on the safety factor. Safety factor and factor of safety are synonymous almost. But in safety factor, what it does is it finds the strength and the stresses at each location. And then it gives an idea of what will be the safety factor. It is basically a indication of a factor of safety, but not exactly for the overall system. Just localized. You can assume localized factor of safety, something like that. So in this, we basically what we did was we found the maximum stress that was being built up, whatever places are there. So on the basis of the maximum stress, we found how much strength the coal has, and with respect to the ratio of the strength of the coal to the stresses that were being developed, we found the factor of safety for these kind of materials. So as we start excavating more and more, there will be different conditions of the stresses that are being developed. So on the basis of that, we can try and calculate. Main thing here is not basically finding the stresses, because that is automatically calculated if you do the geometry right. The problem here is how do we define the overburden load? Like if you see the example here, in the underground board and pillar, the mine working is at a depth of 250 meters, right? 250 meters, and this is just 4 meters. So when you do in a design like this, it actually looks something like this on these lines, where this is the ground and this is the seam or something like that. The problem which happens here is uh, the stresses that are on the edges are not redistributed. Basically, what happens is the nearby portion basically is very close to the edge of the pillar. That should not happen. So this was actually not taken, that's why. So I redesigned this. And if we want to do a very large area, large area of excavation we want to simulate, so we can do another way to do it is basically expand this on the both sides, overburden as well as underburden, and just focus on these ones. So this type of work was done in, if you remember, one of the tutorials that was there. It was which was there? There was one tutorial in phase. Let me find out. Slow mind stop. This one was there. So in this one, basically they did what I was saying. They, rather than taking a section which was very thin, they took a wide section here. Now you see the wide section, how much the is basically the deformation and the stresses are being affected on the large scale, right? So if this is the excavation, the small one, you have to almost like 3 or 4 times you have to take on the both sides, right? And then you can do. So if this is 250, you have to be like 3 times almost like that. That is one way to do it. Again, if you do it this way, it's okay. But here they were talking about a stope. A stope has large dimensions, like even the excavation has the large dimensions. But for our case, let me just show you how they have done. I think we have discussed this once, or I don't remember. I think we have discussed this once. So uh, basically, they excavated the portions one by one and found how it expanded and how the stresses were being developed, right? And this was the scenario. The problem for us was that this also was not very much applicable for us, because 4 meter to 250 meter is very small. Like if we do it in a large scale, this won't be visible at all. So in that case, what we have to do is uh, we have to make a confined space kind of excavation or the study. So how it will be done? Basically, this geometry is not to scale, but This will be the external boundary, and the internal these other material like coal and excavation basically will be defined by the material boundaries. Then it will, the stresses that we give will be based on the confinement stresses, field stresses in that sense. Okay, so let me show you how this would have been done. Uh, the idea of the thing was the main thing, how we get this idea. So what I did was, I basically took this length, this full length as 50 meters. Okay, and because this 35 meters, we got some extra pillar on both sides, right? And we had this excavated gallery of 4.5 meter, right? And we had slices of 5 meters, right? So इसमें फिर what we did was basically to find out what these are, what is the length of these. The total length of pillar was 35 meter, and the galleries were 5 meter. Oh, sorry, the slices were 5 meters. So the stooks that were left would have been 25 by 3 each, right? So the length of these each were 25 by 3, and so the area, the length that was left on each side was calculated by 50 minus 35 minus 9, right? So in that sense, whatever came, we divided into both sides, and that's how we basically tried to find out the coordinates of each of these points. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So coordinates is the first step. ऐसे ही इसमें this on the upper side also 11, 12, and so on, right, till 20, and the outside boundary basically was 1, 2, 3, 4. Just these two, these 4, and these points 1, 2, 3, 4. So once these calculations were done, that what is the overall design. So on the basis of that, we basically found the coordinates by Excel sheet, and so these were there. So basic, the outline cover was 50 by 50, so that is easy, right? The lower line, this line, the material boundary that would have been, this was calculated here. The x and y were calculated like this, right? And the upper line also was calculated here. So 23 meters from below and 27 meters from below. Okay. Now the thing was that we had to calculate how much the confining stress is there. Okay. So this was done by finding out how much is the unit weight is given, right? Yeah, unit weight is given as 27 for overburden, right? And that is in kilonewton per meter cube, correct? So if we have the 250 meters, we can calculate in kilopascals what is the sigma 1. So basically sigma 1 was 6750 kilopascal, and that was used basically for the confinement purpose. So let me open the simulations. So this was how it looked. This is the confinement space of 50 by 50, right? And these are the basically the lower and the upper boundaries, external boundaries. So because I have already calculated these points, the vertices here. So it was easy for me to basically divide it into zones. Now, the way to do it can be two. You can do two basic calculations, or what I have done is here I have used two stages. In stage one, I had not excavated it. The slices were not excavated. And in stage two, we had excavated the slices. Okay. And the the point of loading was based on field stresses. So field stresses were given in sigma 1, sigma 3, and sigma z direction. So we assuming that at the point of application it was uniform. So and at 250 meters the sigma 1 was this, and assuming that horizontal stresses are equal to vertical stresses, the ratio is 1:1. So sigma 1 and sigma 3 and sigma z were all 6.75. Okay. This itna I think idea lag gaya hoga kya hai. Now external boundary had to be confined totally because this was field stress, not the gravity. So if this was gravity, we would have left the upper part free so that it exerts the gravitational force or the weight. But now since we are working on field stresses, it is automatically assumed that this is all consolidated and the stresses are basically being applied from all sides, right? Whatever we have given. So 6.75 we have given, that's the criteria to do it. And because I have done it in two stages, I didn't have to basically do it two times. And if I did the simulation, so material properties are easy, material properties are directly given. And what else? In pre-processing, we have geometry, we have material boundaries done. In meshing, we basically increase the mesh density in our specific area. So if you see outside, there is a coarser mesh. Inside, there is a finer mesh. And the reason was simple, because we needed more data here and more accuracy here. So we basically increased the mesh density and only on the specific regions. So you see, if you see at the edges, this is the region where we increase the mesh density. Okay. To increase the mesh density, you can just use any of these two. So this is the increase the mesh element density, that basically increases the number of elements inside, and mesh discretization density. So discretization will only affect these external points. So we have, like in this, we have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Na? So if I would have increased the discretization density, so the number of points would have increased, but I have increased the mesh density. So inside the elements, number of elements also increased. Okay. So this is about phase. I mean, in ANSYS you do different techniques, so that's up to which software we are using. But the concept is that we improve the density at the local region. Okay. And once we are done with that, I think other properties are okay. Loading we have done, and material properties are already given. So we have defined the materials, overburden and coal, right? And the thing to note was that only field stresses were applicable here, no body stresses. So we used that, right? And I think other things were okay. Here, because we were not dealing with the strength reduction factor, there was no need to put on the plastic behavior here. Okay. Plastic behavior generally we use when we are dealing with the strength reduction factor, because they're the uh, uh, post-failure kind of way, because strength is being reduced. So there will be calculations in the post-failure conditions as well. So that time we use plastic. Now someone of you was discussing one time that what should be the values if these are not given, because generally we don't give post-failure behavior, right? So if that is the situation, if we are calculating SRF, especially in first two problems, what happens is we can actually use directly the same values as well of cohesion and friction, or generally what happens, there is a certain reduction factor that is there, because residual friction angle is generally less when failure happens, and cohesion residual, even though it can even disappear totally or it can have some value. Now, this I think we have already learned in when we were doing rock slope technology, that after a failure how the curve behaves, and before failure how the curve behaves for in terms of C and phi, right? So similarly, we can use that by our judgment, but in this case, if nothing is given, you can even assume same properties post failure, because the whole purpose of strength reduction factor is it reduces the strength step by step to reach a place where it fails, right? So we don't have to calculate the what will happen when the failure happens. After failure happens, what will happen? But it has to have some values, right? It has to understand what happens after failure. So that's why it asks some values. Even if we give same values, it will consider those values as post-failure conditions. Okay, so that is okay, because we anyways have to reach the point of post-failure. That will be the stopping point for the analysis. So we can even give, if nothing is given, we can even give same values, or we can give lesser values as residual. Okay, so we can use those. For here, we didn't use any other thing. And if you see the simulation results, so in simulation results, you can see sigma 1, sigma 3, and sigma z are basically our major stresses, or the major directional principal stresses, right? We were talking about mean stresses. That's what our concern was. And in the mean stresses, we can find out where these mean stresses are. In the question was asked that we have to find it at two locations. So if you have read the question, find the maximum stresses at the top edges of the pillars marked as red. Assume horizontal and vertical stresses are 1 to 1. So in the first condition, it was like this. So we can actually do that by simply adding a query and just finding out what is the what are the values at the edges, and basically using that data to find the stresses at these locations. Okay, so at the edges, you see higher stresses are there. Some difference is being seen. It's not that much, but yeah, the highest stresses we can report as whatever the stresses that is being developed there, right? Uh, Second case was after the slicing has been done, right? So after the slicing has been done, this part will be excavated. So in stage 2, we can see this one, right? And similarly for this one also, we can use the same query, or you can maybe plot another one. And in this case also, we have to find at these two locations only what is the maximum stress. These kind of analysis generally are used for factor of safety calculations, how much safe it is depillaring operation is, but also how much spalling is going on, how much localized stresses are there, is there any requirement for prop support or chalk support or something like that. All these conditions are basically judged to plan the support work. So if too much stress is there, much more than the strength of the material, so this support will be required. And these basically data help us in understanding what happens. Okay, so if we graph this one, we are talking about mean stresses. So so there are three kinks, because now it has at three locations it has been excavated, right? Oh, sorry, two locations in between and on the edges. So we can find out on the edges and see how the stresses have been redistributed now. Okay, so this kind of analysis was required for this problem. The only thing new about this one was that we had to use a confinement, and we had to use field stresses rather than gravity. Okay, I think all other things are as as per your regular simulations. So just had to think about how to simulate these kind of situations. Any questions in this problem? And the board and pillar question? No? किसी ने करा था ये वाला? अभी मैंने चेक नहीं किए कॉपीज. So anyone tried this? I don't think anyone tried this. चलो ट्राई करो इसको सॉल्व करने की. देखो इट इज़ गुड एग्जांपल टू लर्न हाउ टू बेसिकली डू प्रैक्टिकल सिमुलेशन वर्क. ये वाला अभी तो मैं दिखाया कि ये तो प्रैक्टिकल लाइक कंसल्टेंसी वर्क भी था अभी रिसेंटली. सो it's useful to learn. Why gravity is not considered? Gravity is not considered because we are basically truncating our model. Truncating in the sense we are not extending it throughout. Like इस वाले example में हम लोगों ने पूरा 250 meters लिया था. So it had some disadvantages as I discussed. That means we had to take a lot of material on the both sides. And the ratio of 250 to 4 is like 4 to 254. The width, the height of the seam to the overburden is very less. And when this is very less, if you do these kind of analysis, the effect when you see on the towards our focus area, basically it is diminished because the calculations are done on the overall scenario. So if we want to compensate, we have to make it very wide, basically, and to make it very wide, another higher simulations have to be done. So हम लोगों ने क्या किया? We basically truncated it, like काट दिया एक model part and use that in place of a whole big model. Okay. So in that sense, जब ये काट दिया तो basically the major stresses that are functioning now are not just due to gravity. It's because of the so said जो part हम लोगों ने हटा दिया है, the sigma 1 part here, right? Now you might say कि तो सर इसमें भी तो इसका भी तो weight आ रहा होगा, हम लोगों ने तो 250 meters तक ही लिया. That is correct, इसका weight आ रहा है, but right now do understand what we are dealing with. The question that we are doing is we want to find out the stresses at the top edges of the location, not the overall spectra of safety and all. तो उस सेंस में हम लोगों को बेसिकली डील हम लोग यही कर रहे हैं कि इसकी स्ट्रेंथ कितनी है और यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है ऑन द एजेस, राइट? सो दैट सेंस वी बेसिकली आर जो भी ग्रेविटी से करते दैट वी हैव ट्रांसफॉर्म टू अ फील्ड स्ट्रेस, ओके, एंड अप्लाइड इट हियर ऑन द टॉप सिग्मा 1 सिग्मा 3 सॉर्ट ऑफ. तो बेसिकली सब जगह से वो प्रेशर सिग्मा 1 वाला आ रहा है. And we have question says to assume that it is 1 to 1. So sigma 3 and sigma 2 also are same. So that's why जब ऐसी situation होगी तो we will basically convert it into a field stress kind of situation rather than simulating it full top तक. तो truncated करा है, so ऐसे हम लोगों ने transform किया है ऐसे उस तरीके से. Did that answer, Nitesh? समझ में आया? Sure. Any other questions in this? So this is good exercise. You can try it once when you are done at home. I'll move on to the next one. Next one is about haul roads. This actually was a little bit close to what I had done in PhD also. Very small part of it, but yeah, part of it. So क्या होता है? A typical haul road is basically made of 4 layers. This is the subgrade, subbase, base course and surface course. 4 layers are there. So layer 1 is called the surface layer is called the surface course layer. Next layer is the base course, and then there is a subgrade, and there is a sub base, and the lowest one is the subgrade. सबग्रेड वाली जो लेयर होती है वो जनरली हम लोगों की जो बेस होता है, रॉक बेस, जिस पे हम लोग वी आर कटिंग एंड मेकिंग इट, ओके, उसके ऊपर हम लोग कुछ वी मेक अ थिक 1 meter layer of gravel and sand mixture. तो वो एक तरीके से बेस प्रोड्यूस करता है, बेस देता है पूरी रोड को, जिसमें स्ट्रेंथ जो स्ट्रेंथ देगा आगे की लेयर्स को. देन उससे भी ज़्यादा फाइन ग्रेडिंग हम लोग करते हैं फॉर द बेस कोर्स. ओके. और ये सरफेस कोर्स जो होता है उसमें सरफेशियल मटेरियल रहता है जो कि टायर्स के रेजिस्टेंस को झेलेगा. बेसिकली फर्स्ट लेयर दैट विल बी मेकिंग द कांटेक्ट फ्रॉम द व्हीकल्स एंड मूवमेंट विल बी सरफेस कोर्स. तो सबकी डिज़ाइन ऐसी रहती है, जस्ट टू गिव यू एन आइडिया, कि इट इज़ डिज़ाइंड बेसिकली टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द लोड्स एज क्विकली एज पॉसिबल. तो अगर ये जैसे एक हैवी लोड दे रहा है यहाँ पे, दिस इज काइंड ऑफ व्हील का, जैसे एक एक्सेल का आइडिया लगा लो कि अगर एक हाई स्ट्रेस है इस साइड, राइट. तो इसका काम इन लेयर्स का ये है कि बेसिकली जो स्ट्रेस यहाँ आ रहा है उसको वो लार्जर एरिया में डिवाइड कर दे, राइट. और जो स्ट्रेस यहाँ आ रहा है उसको और लार्जर एरिया में डिवाइड कर दे, and so on. So basically उससे क्या होगा कि because area is increasing, the force or impact that this tire movement will have on a particular part will be less or divided. So basically the deformation is less. ऐसा करके डिज़ाइन की जाती है. Okay. So based on that only all the properties are defined कि किस तरीके की properties दी जाएं for every layer of these हॉल रोड. तो ये भी क्वेश्चन ऐसे ही था दैट क्रॉस सेक्शन ऑफ अ माइन हॉल रोड इज शोन इन द फिगर with respect to the thickness of with respective thickness of different layers mentioned. So every layer की thickness यहाँ दी हुई है. Surface course की 0.8, base course 1.3, 1.0 is sub base and 0.5 is subgrade. Subgrade can be as much as possible. Actually subgrade is the base. तो बस इन्होंने ऐसा एज्यूम कर लिया है कि 0.5 इज द बेस, राइट. अ टिपिकल 4-wheel डंपर मटेरियल प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ, ये तो मटेरियल प्रॉपर्टीज दी हुई हैं. एंड अ टिपिकल 4-wheel डंपर विद ग्रॉस वेट 650 is supposed to run on this haul road. If the load distribution on forward and rear tires is 30 to 70, find the मैक्सिमम डिफॉर्मेशन ऑफ दिस. ओके. तो बस सिंपली था, इसको एक बार देखते तो मजा आता है इसको करने में. बेसिकली व्हाट इट रिक्वायर्ड वाज टू फाइंड आउट हाउ मच ड्यू टू द मूवमेंट हाउ मच इट इज डिप्रेसिंग ईच लेयर, राइट. मैक्सिमम डिफॉर्मेशन कितना है. नाउ फॉर दैट we basically have to do similar work that we did here. कि initially कोई load नहीं है and then we have load, right. Now the few things that we have to consider is how much is the contact area, right. So because based on that we have to find out how much is the stress that is being sent to the sent through the tire. एक डंपर जो होता है, if you have a dumper and so it basically generally dumpers are designed to carry heavy loads here, and due to these heavy loads the distribution of load is generally more towards the rear wheels and less towards the front wheels. So if it is the gross weight or the weight is given as 650 tons, तो इसका 30% or 0.3 into 650 will be on this part, front part, and this will be 0.7 into 650, right. So we are assuming as 4-wheel dumpers generally to basically simplify this question, but practically 650 ton ka dumper jo hai, it will have multiple axles. Even this axle will have another set of tires here. At least double tires तो रहेंगे यहाँ पे. तो generally थोड़ा different रहता है, but still just to simplify this, we used four-wheel scenario. So on the back side, we see that 70% is of the load is there, right? So it is 650 tons. You have to convert it into newtons or kilonewtons, right? And then you have to divide it into two parts, because 650 tons will also be divided into two tires, right? Back side. So basically by two. And also for finding the stress, you have to divide it by the area of contact. So because we are assuming 1 meter unit meter thickness, so that is the assumption for it. So we have to basically divide it by 0.25 as well, right? So this will be the stress or the pressure on this region. Okay, and yeah, that's it. I mean, ortho for design wala part hai, it is given, the inclination is given as 30 degrees, and the lengths are given, so we can actually easily calculate by our this one Excel sheet. So this will be 0.1, 0.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, ऐसा करके. So we just calculate these boundary coordinates, and we can feed it inside. So boundary coordinates, if you see, I had calculated like this. Okay, and converting from ton to kilonewtons, and converting to 70% for one tire how much, and in kilopascal by dividing it by area. So it turned out to be 8927 kilopascal. Okay, so that's the amount of stress that was being applied in that contact zone. अच्छा, contact zone define करने के लिए एक और काम करना पड़ा था, that apart from this 7, 8, 9, 10, I had to add few 2 points here. So it was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11, 12 ऐसा करके. Because the section where I had to define the stress has also needed vertices, right? So उस तरीके से basically I calculated how many. These were 15 points from 0 to 0. Okay. So in this, we made the slope, right? इस तरीके से अच्छा, ये तो अभी हुआ है. In this way the slope came, then I joined the material boundaries with the material properties. Material properties are already given, right? So that was easy, just define the material properties like that. So for layer 1, in this case we also consider gravity, do remember that. And you have to convert from gravity to field stress to gravity, because if you don't do it, then it will generally take the regular field stresses, and that will ruin the question or the simulation. So that was important. So we had to consider gravity and body stresses. So that was there. So L1, L2, L3, and L4 all were taken. All approximates were taken here. Acha, for pre-processing we had geometry, we had material boundaries, confinement. ये देखो, इसमें confinement क्या था? Because we had to basically see the effect of this the contact area only, right? Where the tire contact is there. So this will be assumed to be fixed support. We don't want it to basically do a sort of slope stability analysis. It will do slope stability analysis if we don't put this fixed support. So इसीलिए यहाँ पे fixed support लगाए थे, right? Or it basically means that all these boundaries are fixed. We are assuming that nothing is happening on the edges. We are just assuming that that only on the top, due to the deformation or the weight, there will be some deformation, right? and we want to understand how much deformation is there on each layer, maximum deformation on each layer, right? So purpose वही है, तो there was no need to basically consider other factors. We just focus on this area, and length शायद दी हुई थी इसमें, ये वाली लेंथ नहीं दी हुई थी, तो आई assumed this one as if this was 10 meters, I assumed I think 30 meters or something. How much did I take? Yeah, something like that. 20 meters extra I think I kept. Yeah, so total top distance I took 30 meters around that. So उस तरीके से बना लिया था. Okay, and then what I did was basically, because in the meshing part I had to focus on this area only, right? Because most of the calculations will be done on this. The maximum deformation by logic will be just below the tires. So the best results I wanted to be below the tires, right? So इसीलिए the meshing that was done was done in this sense, that I densified these areas below the tires or below the application points, and आसपास वालों को इतना ज़्यादा इफेक्ट नहीं किया. Whatever default that was generated. So this was about meshing. Stresses, loads. तो loads में once because analysis में generally ये default में constant रहता है, तो वो ध्यान रखना था कि we had to take the constant off and convert into gravity, because if we do take the constant stresses, field stresses, it will assume that यहाँ से भी stress आ रहा है, यहाँ से भी stress आ रहा है, and side से भी stress आ रहा है. So basically it will ruin our calculations. So right now it was just about the loads and the gravity. Okay, so we use the gravity, use it as actual ground surface, and that was done. And what else? I think this was about the pre-processing. Once we calculated, we did the calculation, didn't took much time, and this was how it looked like. In terms of sigma 1, you can see how the stresses are distributed. So based on our assumption that each layer will divide the load into further, it is seen that how it divides basically. So यहाँ तक high stress आ रहे थे, फिर वो वाला stress कम हो गया यहाँ पे. Same thing happened on the lower layer, right? It shifted inside. Shifting inside basically means that the value of load is decreasing. Basically, the load is being distributed. The value of stress is being reducing. So basically, the load is being distributed in a larger space, right? So that's why these kind of shifts in sigmas you can see. Okay, so basically this design actually tells us कि जो properties ली गई हैं that are okay and applicable for our scenario, right? And the shifting should be towards the inner side only, अगर stress की देखी जाए. So because that's why when the inner side shifting is there, that means basically the stress reduces just below the below for the next layer. So यहाँ पे जितना stress होगा in this zone, it will be less on the lower layer, और इसी तरीके से यहाँ पे जितना होगा it will be less on the lower layer and so on, right? तो purpose वही है hall road design का, तो that's why these properties are perfect. और so stress, you can see how the stress is being built up. जहाँ टायर का contact होता है, how it is being distributed and how it is spreading throughout. So even the surface course layer, the purpose of every layer is to spread the load. So that's it is doing effectively. Generally, these properties are more based on how much elastic modulus and strength are there. So critical parameters. So in my PhD, I actually designed the top layer with fly ash without cement. So that was a good exercise. And we had to see कि अच्छे से ash वाला जो composite है, that basically distributes it very well. So the distribution was much better as compared to the traditional overburden based surface material. Okay, coming back to this, ये तो sigma 1. So our concern was displacement, right? So we go for the total displacement. Now this is the typical displacement curve. वैसा ही होता है कि कितना displacement हो रहा है, how it is changing and all. I think I have added the queries already, but in order to show you, I'll remove these. And तो हम लोगों को चारों लेयर का, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4, इन सब का हम लोगों को we have to see how much deformation is happening, right? So what can be done is we can easily add few queries, right? So क्या करते हैं, पूरे में queries add करते हैं. This I will show you how a good analysis can be done on this. So let's divide this part into 30. Okay, and हाँ ठीक है, 30 में एलिमेंट्स में डिवाइड करेंगे. And we do this for all the layers. So this one again is 30, and for the third layer top is 30, and for the fourth layer as well. Right, and very easily we can just simply graph these data and create plots or use these. So we can see how much is the maximum deformation here. इसमें अगर तुम sampler लगा दो तो you can see how much is the maximum deformation is basically in here. So it is around 0.23 meters. So 2.3 centimeters around that. But 2.3 centimeters is okay. It is a static deformation anyways. So static deformation basically means जब loaded होगा तो कितना होगा. So quite good enough for the surface to have that much. 650 tons का dumper में 2.3 centimeter is okay. And similarly we can do for others. We can graph the data for others as well, and this one is a little bit less than 22, 2.2. Right, so it is a little bit more than 22.1 centimeters. Similarly for third layer it will be even lesser. So this one is even reduced to like around 1 centimeter, right? And the fourth layer will have even less. Right, so इसमें देखें तो we'll have even like 17 mm, नहीं, it's like 1.7 mm or something. So last layer तक जाते जाते it's hardly any significant values there, right? So a good analysis is done in this case. कि कितना डिफॉर्मेशन होता है विद डंपर मूवमेंट. इसमें दो तीन टाइप की एनालिसिस होती है. देयर इज आल्सो एन एनालिसिस व्हिच इज नॉट डन इन दिस सॉफ्टवेयर. उसको कहते हैं साइक्लिक लोडिंग अनलोडिंग. यू हैव आई थिंक आई हैव टोल्ड यू अबाउट फ्लेक्सुरल स्ट्रेंथ, राइट? सो सॉरी, फटीग आई हैव टोल्ड यू, राइट? रिपीटेड साइक्लिक अनलोडिंग एंड लोडिंग. तो इन दैट सेंस हम लोग हर लेयर की फटीग स्ट्रेंथ भी कैलकुलेट करते हैं कि कितनी साइकिल के बाद देयर विल बी सर्टेन मोर डिफॉर्मेशन। तो साइक्लिक लोडिंग अनलोडिंग कर करके वी कैन सी लाइक सपोज अगर एक डंपर आता है हर 10 मिनट्स में, राइट? तो एक दिन में कितने डंपर मूवमेंट होंगे और एक साल में कितने होंगे एंड 20 ईयर्स में कितने होंगे। तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट हम लोग ये डिसाइड कर लेते हैं कि विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दैट हाउ मेनी साइकिल्स ऑफ लोडिंग एंड अनलोडिंग विल बी देयर ऑन टॉप, और उस बेसिस पे फिर निकालते हैं कि बेस्ड ऑन द फटीग स्ट्रेंथ कि एक परमानेंट डिफॉर्मेशन आने लगा। अभी वट एवर डिफॉर्मेशन राइट नाउ वी आर सीइंग इट इज़ लाइक अ टेम्परेरी डिफॉर्मेशन, क्योंकि ये इलास्टिक लिमिट्स में होगा इसकी। तो एज सुन एज द डिफॉर्मेशन और ये लोडिंग इज रिमूव द मतलब डंपर आगे बढ़ गया, सो दिस विल बी रिलीज बैक। तो थोड़ा सा इट विल रिटेन, दिस विल कीप ऑन हैपनिंग टिल द टाइम इट इज अंडर द इलास्टिक लिमिट। जो स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन का कर्व इफ यू रिमेंबर, तो इलास्टिक लिमिट में रहेगा तो इट विल गो बैक, ओके। और जैसे ही इलास्टिक लिमिट से बाहर आएगा, यील्ड पॉइंट पे आ जाएगा, दिस देयर विल बी अ परमानेंट डिफॉर्मेशन थ्रू आउट। तो वो केस होते हैं जैसे जब इफ़ यू हैव सम एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ ओपन कास्ट रटिंग जैसे होती है टायर्स की, या फिर जो टायर मार्क्स बन जाते हैं ऑन द हॉल रोड्स, या हॉल रोड डिस्टर्ब होने लगती हैं पूरी पूरी। सो ऑन द ऑल दीज थिंग्स कीप ऑन हैपनिंग ड्यू टू दैट। तो एक वो भी स्टडी अच्छी है कि आफ्टर हाउ मेनी साइकिल्स दीज परमानेंट डिफॉर्मेशन स्टार्ट्स टू हैपन। उससे हम लोग पता लगा लेते हैं कि इस हॉल रोड की लाइफ कितनी होगी। अगर मैं एक मटेरियल यूज़ करता हूँ यहाँ पे दैट हैज़ सर्टेन फटीग स्ट्रेंथ, ओके, तो वो कितना टाइम तक सस्टेन कर सकता है हॉल रोड को विदाउट सिग्निफिकेंट डिफॉर्मेशन। सिग्निफिकेंट डिफॉर्मेशन भी बेसिकली मीन क्या कि ये परमानेंट डिफॉर्मेशन ना दिखे, राइट? तो उस तरीके से है। तो अच्छी एनालिसिस है, ऑल दीज टाइप ऑफ एनालिसिस आर गुड। दिस इज लिटिल बिट क्लोज टू व्हाट आई हैव डन, सो उसके बारे में ज़्यादा बता पाऊंगा मैं, बट या। So this was about the simulation that we asked for the fifth one or the second choice. तो जितने जितना like 2.3, 2.1, 1 and 1.8 जो भी आया, that was the output that was required for each layer. That's it, इतना ही था इसमें। तो ये तो मज़ेदार थे दोनों। एनी क्वेश्चंस इन दिस? कोई क्वेश्चंस इस वाले सिमुलेशन में? हॉल रोड?
हेलो सर।
या नितेश?
सर इसमें सर ये टायर की साइक्लिक लोडिंग मतलब साइक्लिंग लोडिंग क्या, ये जो रियर व्यू और बैकवर्ड फॉरवर्ड टायर पे कैसे लोडिंग की है सर, लोडिंग कैसे की है सर, आप से बताएंगे?
लोडिंग इसमें ऐसा किया है, देखो जैसे a typical dumper ना, it basically has a higher amount of load on the back tire than the forward tire, okay? और इन्होंने दे दिया है इन द क्वेश्चन, दे हैव गिवन दैट 30% एंड 70% इज द बायस। तो 30% 70% बेसिकली क्या होता है कि जो फॉरवर्ड टायर सेट्स में लोड होता है डंपर का, और जो रिवर्स टायर सेट में लोड होता है डंपर का, वो इस रेशियो में डिवाइडेड रहता है। कई जगह 30-70 होता है, कई जगह 60-40 होता है, समथिंग लाइक दैट। तो हम लोगों ने क्या किया, हम लोगों ने वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो लिया ना, द हैवियर लोडिंग, और उसने भी पूछा है कि फॉर रियर व्हील्स कितना होगा। तो हम लोगों ने करा कि पीछे वाले टायर्स में कितना होगा। तो पीछे वाले टायर्स में हमने निकाला कि 70% ऑफ द टोटल ग्रॉस वेट कितना है। तो ग्रॉस वेट हमारा 650 टन है, तो उसका 70% निकाल लिया। एंड देन बिकॉज 4 व्हील्स हैं, तो पीछे 2 व्हील्स का हमने 70% ये हो गया, एंड देन वी डिवाइडेड इनटू 2 बिकॉज 2 व्हील्स ये अलग अलग है, राइट? तो एक व्हील में कितना आएगा, कितना स्ट्रेस लगाएंगे, वो निकाल लिया। एंड देन वी कन्वर्टेड इनटू पास्कल्स बिकॉज अभी तो टन्स में है। तो टन्स से वी कन्वर्ट इनटू किलो न्यूटन से पास्कल्स बाय डिवाइडिंग द कॉन्टैक्ट एरिया। और फिर वो यहाँ पे लगा दिया हम लोगों ने, जैसे रेगुलर लोडिंग करते हैं। अप्लाई लोड्स यहाँ पे इन द लोडिंग पार्ट, अप्लाई डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लोड, एंड इसका जितना भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लोड है वो यहाँ पे फीड कर दिया, एंड जस्ट अप्लाई टू इन वर्टिकल डायरेक्शन। दैट्स इट। समझ में आया नितेश?
यस सर, वो मेरा डाउट ये था कि रियर व्यू और फ्रंट व्यू टायर दोनों को एक साथ में कैसे करेंगे, बट अपन केवल रियर व्यू टायर को ही कंसिडर कर रहे हैं। 3D
हम लोग
मॉडलिंग नहीं हो रही है ना सर इसमें?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, यहाँ पे 2D मॉडलिंग है ना, हम लोग वी आर डूइंग 2D। और इसमें भी पूछा यही गया है कि रियर व्हील्स का करना है, सो वी आर डूइंग फॉर द रियर व्हील्स राइट नाउ। इन अ 3D मॉडलिंग में क्या होता है कि 3D मॉडलिंग में वी ऑल्सो कंसिडर द टाइम फैक्टर कि आगे क्या होगा जब आगे बढ़ेगा, तो मोशन पूरा देखते हैं, वो वाले भी एनालिसिस है। इतना टाइम नहीं है कि वो दिखाऊंगा मैं, लेकिन चलो कभी मौका पड़ेगा तो वो भी दिखा देंगे। बट दैट वाज आल्सो अ गुड एनालिसिस वेयर फुल रोटेशन इज बेसिकली अ सिंगल रोटेशन इज सिमुलेटेड। उसमें दोनों व्हील्स का अलग अलग लोड लिया जाता है, लेकिन वही है, वो साइक्लिक लोडिंग का बेसिस लेता है, हाउ मेनी साइकिल्स हैपन, 1 2 3 4 एंड सो ऑन। तो उसमें वी टेक मच मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स कैलकुलेशंस, बट इट इज़ फन, मज़ा आता है करने में। ठीक है, so we'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, we have another 2 3 minutes before the class ends, but I think do try these out. Those who I think none of you tried it, but do try it out by yourself। एक बार करके देखो कहाँ कैसे करते हो, कैसी मुश्किल आती हैं। सी ऑल दीज आर बेसिकली डिफरेंट सिनेरियोज जो हम लोग इमेजिन कर सकते हैं एंड ट्राइंग टू बेसिकली फाइंड आउट व्हाट विल हैपन, ऐसा करके। तो आई थिंक इसमें सिर्फ फर्स्ट और सेकंड में वी ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी। In others, we didn't even try and find out a factor of safety. And generally, most of the simulations, we don't do that. Factor of safety is just one derivative of the full simulation exercise. Stresses, displacement, flow, temperature change, ये सब चीज़ें ज़्यादा यूजफुल रहती हैं। तो when you do these kind of exercises, very important we know कि हम लोग क्या निकाल रहे हैं, एंड ऐसे आइडिया लगाना पड़ता है कि कहाँ कैसे करा जाए, कैसे डिज़ाइन करा जाए, हाउ टू बेसिकली टेल द कंप्यूटर व्हाट वी वांट एंड गेट दैट आउट ऑफ इट। सो ये सब है चीज़ें, ट्राई करो इन दोनों को। आई थिंक इट विल बी ए गुड, मज़ा आएगा करने में। एंड फाइंड आउट अदर अदर ऑब्जर्वेशंस दैट यू कैन, डिस्प्लेसमेंट की स्ट्रेन देखना, इसमें स्ट्रेन का भी बड़ा मज़ेदार है, shear strain how it is being distributed, एंड है काफ़ी काफ़ी अच्छा अच्छा काम इसमें, तो खैर हम कर चुके हैं इसलिए आई नो, बट यू कैन फाइंड मैनी गुड रिजल्ट्स इन दिस। ओके, सो डू ट्राई इट आउट एंड लेट्स क्लोज द क्लास फॉर टुडे। इफ एनी क्वेश्चंस आर देयर वी कैन हैव, अदरवाइज थैंक यू वेरी मच। अब तुम लोगों की अगली क्लास शायद नहीं है, बिकॉज कुछ तो इनॉग्रेशन है ऑफ द गोल्डन जुबली बिल्डिंग, सो आई थिंक सबको मेल आ गया होगा, यू कैन अटेंड दैट। कल मिलते हैं फिर, टुमारो विल कंटिन्यू।